When people talk about postseason success in the NFL, they usually start with talent, statistics, matchups, and momentum. And all of those things matter. But year after year, what separates the teams that merely reach January from the teams that actually survive it is something deeper and harder to sustain: coherence under pressure. Right now, the LA Rams feel like a team that is not simply executing a winning system, but inhabiting a conscious one. And at the center of that consciousness is head coach Sean McVay, whose influence extends far beyond the play sheet. It's not about a few hot games. It's about a long arc of alignment, a quarterback whose internal wiring matches what the coach is trying to conduct, and a roster that increasingly resembles sections of the same orchestra rather than a collection of soloists. In this video, I'm going to share my top 4 reasons why the Rams are poised for a magical postseason run. And I'll share the secret of how Sean McVay wove a winning identity into the Rams' DNA, one that just might help them bring home the Lombardi Trophy. But first, if you're new here, welcome. I'm Trill. I'm a conscious creator and a high-vibe music artist. I'm also a former professional sports handicapper, one of the best in the world at beating the odds makers. So if you enjoy high-vibe content, hit the like and subscribe, and let's dive in. When Sean McVay arrived in Los Angeles in 2017, the Rams were coming off a 4-12 season and ranked dead last in the NFL in scoring. In his very first season, with essentially the same roster, the Rams jumped to first in the league in scoring, finished 11-5, and won the NFC West. That swing is one of the most dramatic single-season offensive turnarounds in modern NFL history. But it didn't happen because of one player. It happened because the environment changed immediately. You can see this cultural shift clearly in the 2018 Monday Night Football game against the Chiefs, a 54-51 Rams win that many consider one of the greatest regular season games ever. That game featured 7 total turnovers and wild momentum swings, and yet the Rams never emotionally unraveled, continuing to attack until the final snap. That game is a perfect early visual of what McVay's system looks like when chaos enters the room and fails to take control. From a football standpoint, that resilience showed up in sustained playoff appearances and eventually a championship. From a deeper standpoint, the game revealed a culture that could absorb volatility without losing its internal rhythm. McVay coaches identity first, performance second. He frames games around who the team is, not just what the game plan is. Why they play, not just how they play. So instead of "we need this third down," you hear "this moment is ours. Trust who you are. You've done this your whole life." That's identity anchoring, not tactical instruction. Another huge aspect of Sean McVay's winning culture is his passion. McVay's ability to fire up his players is one of the main reasons Baker Mayfield is once again an elite quarterback. Baker was claimed off waivers by the Rams after being released by the Panthers in 2022. When Stafford went down, Baker stepped in and led the team to a dramatic comeback win over the Raiders. According to Baker, McVay simplified the offense, removed pressure, and trusted the quarterback to function rather than forcing him to impress. Baker credits McVay for rekindling his love for the game and helping him resurrect his career. Wideout Davante Adams said he signed with the Rams because of McVay's passion and vision. In the offseason, McVay sent Davante a video expressing his admiration and showing exactly how and why he believes that Davante would fit perfectly into the Rams' offense. Davante was so impressed, he took less money just for the opportunity to find out. Even backup quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo notes that McVay's a great recruiter. His high energy and genuine passion for the game are infectious, and they make players want to be a part of the team. But perhaps McVay's secret sauce is his ability to generate collective momentum. He's all about chemistry instead of hero ball. Role players are rotated into real responsibility so everyone gets their moment. This is classic collective coherence. When everyone feels like a contributor, the team starts functioning like a single organized state of awareness. Everything about the current Rams' identity traces back to the moment McVay decided that the offense had reached its ceiling with Jared Goff. even though Goff had already taken the team to a Super Bowl. In January 2021, the Rams executed one of the most aggressive quarterback trades of the modern era, sending Goff 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick to Detroit in exchange for Matt Stafford. McVay didn't make the move simply for arm strength. He made it for temperament. What McVay saw in Stafford was something coaches barely talk about publicly, but desperately need in January: amnesia. Stafford has the rare ability to throw an interception or take a crushing hit and return to the next drive with the same internal posture as if nothing happened. That presence, that refusal to be psychologically altered by the last outcome, is the cornerstone of an elite postseason quarterback. The payoff was immediate. During the 2021 postseason, Stafford engineered 3 straight game-winning drives, including the final drive of Super Bowl 56, when he led a 15-play, 79-yard march that featured his now legendary no-look throw to Cooper Kupp and ended the game with a touchdown. Stafford is the calibrated instrument McVay designed the system around. His no-look throws are the visible tip of elite spatial processing, where Stafford recognizes defender leverage before the snap and then confirms it post-snap without needing to stare into the window. You see Stafford's presence most clearly in late-game mechanics. Even after mistakes, his drop depth doesn't shrink. Even when the rush compresses the pocket, he continues to climb and throw rather than drifting into collapse mode. The reality of managing a veteran quarterback's body is part of this equation, especially with Stafford's long history of back issues. But yet, not only is he in MVP form, but he broke Tom Brady's record for the most consecutive touchdown passes without an interception. Yes, they lost to the Panthers in Carolina and didn't look great, but in the sports handicapping world, we call that a trap game. The Rams had to fly across the country to play a 500 team as a large favorite the week before facing their division rival the Cardinals, who is out of playoff contention but always dangerous. A loss for the Rams was inevitable. Coach McVay has reshaped the offense around quicker rhythm throws, rollouts, and movement, not merely as a tactical convenience, but because it allows Stafford to remain dangerous deep into a season, rather than burning out. Sean McVay's alignment shows up most clearly not when things are going well, but when the game tries to fracture emotionally. A perfect example of this is Week 9 of the 2021 season versus the Tennessee Titans. Stafford threw 2 brutal interceptions in the first half, including a pick 6, yet McVay didn't shelve the offense. He continued to call play action, intermediate throws, and layered routes in the second half, even as the deficit widened. That game eventually slipped away, but the identity never did. Then compare that to the Super Bowl run just 3 months later. Same offense, same quarterback, same willingness to keep trusting structure after adversity. This isn't recklessness. This is philosophical consistency. In the red zone, the same principle applied. In the NFC Championship game versus the Niners on January 30th, 2022, McVay repeatedly used motion and tight end delays rather than hunting low-percentage isolation fades. Stafford threw 2 touchdowns in the second half with layered route concepts that punished defensive over-pursuit. From a spiritual layer, beneath the strategy, this is emotional steadiness translated directly into schematic patience. When the play caller remains calm and confident, the rest of the offense does as well. Rather than assembling stars and hoping chemistry emerges, McVay curates specialists who fit specific frequencies inside the larger composition. The roster reflects his design, not the other way around. The receivers are asked to win on timing and separation, not just contested catches. Puka Nacua thrives in that role because he breaks routes with urgency and fights for yards after the catch. On defense, the Rams have quietly rebuilt their front with young disruptors like Kobe Turner, who recorded 9 sacks as a rookie in 2023, and Byron Young, who added consistent edge pressure in that same season. These players don't replace legends like Aaron Donald by imitation, but by sustaining the disruptive identity through different means. From a broader view, McVay doesn't simply call plays. He conducts tempo. He balances sections. He knows when the offense needs more rhythm, when it needs more restraint, and when to let the melody swell. So here's what to watch for in the postseason. If this alignment is holding when the games become unforgiving, the indicators will be unmistakable. Watch what McVay calls on the first drive after a turnover. Is he playing it safe, or is he asserting the team's identity with a call that keeps the rhythm steady and the mindset aggressive? Watch Stafford's mechanics in the fourth quarter of tight games. Not just the throws, but his feet, posture, and willingness to stand tall in the pocket. Watch receivers on third down. Sharp, decisive breaks means trust and clarity. Rounded routes means hesitation. And watch the defense right after offensive adversity. Do they generate pressure when the energy dips, or do they simply absorb it? These are all football tells, but they're also psychological tells. If the play calling remains layered and aggressive rather than overly cautious, then the internal coherence is still alive. And when that coherence holds under stress, that's when January starts to feel like destiny. The Rams' alignment has been constructed patiently over years by Sean McVay through failure, recalibration, and refinement. If the Rams go on another magical postseason run, it won't feel sudden. It'll feel like the natural consequence of a structure that has learned how to remain present while the world around it tightens. And that presence, more than any standalone statistic, is what I believe makes this version of the Rams so intriguing. So what about you? Is there a strategy that you can implement at work, at home, or at play that could invigorate the people around you and empower them to be the best version of themselves? Is there a way that you can rise to the occasion, perhaps by thinking just a little bit outside the box? Let me know in the comments. Also, what do you find most inspiring about the 2025 Rams? Which player will make the biggest difference when it matters most? And which teams do you think the Rams match up with the best and the worst? Thank you so much for watching. If you want more breakdowns like this, where we talk about the game behind the game, the consciousness side of sports, entertainment, and life, hit the like and subscribe. Until next time, namaste.